too dangerous, but Han announces the mission is still on and takes some men with him to search for the entity while telling the rest to re-establish communications at any cost. Han's team enters the vents and finds the same creepy drawings on the walls. Suddenly their scanner finds a biosignal approaching them, however it seems to be in another part of the facility because it passes right over them. The team tries to follow the same direction and comes across a door, but it's locked. At that moment they get a call from the men in the main hub saying they made progress with the comms, so the team decides to go back. Meanwhile Suchin's body is taken to the infirmary, where Han begins opening him up. Song checks the medical records, but they're all locked, so she goes to gather tissue samples from the other bodies. Minutes later while Song is working, she thinks she's found the body of her sister, but when she checks the tag she notices it's a different woman with the same surname. Afterwards Song returns to the infirmary, where Han confirms that the body was filled with water from the inside with no signs of external damage. Song mentions the other bodies had similar symptoms, and when she checks the samples, she discovers the previous crew were in perfect health when they died, with no signs of virus or bacteria. Not to mention Suchin's blood appears to hold a separate layer of something unrecognizable. Back to Han, he learns from the others that they need to fix the digital unit. Usually the elevator would take them there, but it's out of order so someone will have to climb down, which is very dangerous. Han volunteers to go, and when he stops by to inform the doctors, Song shares a theory. The creature didn't hurt her and is familiar with the internal base structure, so she thinks it may be a survivor. However, Han thinks it isn't possible. Afterwards Song and Hong examine the vomited water and notice it's distilled. It seems the water itself could be the virus, probably extraterrestrial, and it could be the solution to the drought on Earth. It's not in the air, so something happened 5 years ago that made it spread among the old crew. At the chasm, Han starts carefully descending to reach the unit. Suddenly the elevator starts moving on its own and the computer controls are unable to stop it. Han holds on tight and moves out of the way just in time, so the elevator keeps going and disconnects Han's rope in the process. Then it crashes into the station, causing the power to go out only to return a second later. Then the crew begins lowering the rope again, but Han asks them to throw the whole thing off because the elevator is now falling. Moving quickly, Han connects the rope to one of the shafts and dodges the elevator again, but this time his body bounces against the metal and his oxygen system is damaged. After dreaming of his sick daughter back on Earth, Han decides to keep going instead of returning and successfully finds the unit. He quickly changes a panel so the team can reboot the system, then he passes out. Thankfully the crew quickly saves him and brings him back, but they have bad news, the comms still aren't working. The computer is completely functional, yet for some reason there's no signal. Suddenly they detect an unknown signal coming from storage 3, so they go there to investigate. The room turns out to be empty, but when they check Lee's body, they find an old communicator indicating he's a rogue agent. Using this communicator, they manage to make the comms work and get in contact with Director Choi of the SAA. After Han updates her on everything, Choi orders him to concentrate on finding the intruder, and Han asks for the codes to access the restricted areas. He also points out Choi isn't surprised by anything he mentioned, so he suspects she knows more than she lets on. Meanwhile Song wanders around the station and finally finds the door with the sign on the floor, but she can't open it without the right code. She returns to the lab and decides to try a new test. She drops some blood on a sample of vomited water, and it immediately starts multiplying at an amazing speed. They immediately hit it with extinguishers and all the drops instantly freeze, confirming that the water can only multiply as long as its host is alive. Song rushes to see Han, announcing the sample they had to pick up has always been water and accusing Han of knowing everything. A flashback reveals what Kim and Choi told Han before the mission. Song's sister Won Kyung had found water on the moon, so the Belhi station was built to study it. Han tells the others of this and says he kept the secret to protect them from moles like Lee, but Song immediately corrects him. She points out the lunar water is what killed everyone because it can't be controlled, but the government is hiding that information because they probably want to commercialize it without caring about the consequences. Then in private Song tells Han that her sister wanted her to be there and asks him for the access codes. They go to the door with the symbol and after Han removes their body cams, he uses the code to finally open it. The walls are covered with the database, and on a hatch on the floor, they're shocked to see some leaves. When they open it, they discover a long tunnel covered with plants. Song and Han immediately bring the rest of the crew and they agree to go investigate. While E2 stays by the hatch to guard it, the others carefully climb down and find multiple storage rooms filled with plants. They also notice this area isn't on the map. Eventually they find a control room with tons of sample capsules, including a broken one on the floor from which all the plants grew out. The team begins gathering capsules to take back, and Han notices something moving among the vines. Other crew members notice something in the hallway only to suddenly scream and run away. The creature tears off E1's arm to steal his capsule, so Sun shoots it to make it drop the sample. The creature runs to hide in the vines and Hong approaches E1 to discover he's died. The others approach the vines and open fire when the creature moves, jumping and climbing around like a monkey. It doesn't stop moving until a stray bullet hits a bursting pipe, making the entity fall. The crew approaches the creature and they're shocked to see it's actually a young girl with a weird protuberance on her jaw and reptile eyes. When she sees them come closer, she quickly runs away and leaves through the upper tunnel, knocking out E2 in the process. The others try to follow her, only to discover that the sample she dropped before is broken and now the water is making contact with E1's blood, multiplying at a crazy speed. The crew rushes to retrieve the sample briefcase and runs to climb out while hearing an alarm go off in the control room. They pick up E2 and make sure to lock the hatch again before rushing to the infirmary. Afterward Hong and Song operate on E2 because there's blood in his lungs, and Ryu has to donate some blood to help. Once he's left alone in the infirmary, Ryu reveals he also has an extra communicator and sends someone a message saying he has a sample. The mysterious person replies with orders to eliminate all witnesses. Then the crew discusses what happened and Song theorizes that the girl is trying to stop them from taking the water. Han calls Choi to confirm they have the samples and informs her the intruder is a young girl, but Choi tells him to kill her anyway. After she hangs up, Choi reveals that she has a picture with the girl from many years ago. Next, Han authorizes Song and Hong to go back into the tunnel to gather information while he returns to storage 3. He goes inside the vent and this time he opens the door, allowing him to find the broken vent the girl used to move around and a bunch of blood stains. Han follows the blood while two of his men find another vent opening in a hallway, so they go inside and find an area not on the map. There are more bodies here and they start following the blood too, only to suddenly be startled when Han falls in front of them. It seems the girl has complete knowledge of the station and can move through it effortlessly. In the mysterious tunnel, Song and Hong access the database and Song admits that she had no idea her sister was on the lunar base until she was informed of her death. Won Kyung had called her once before the accident, but Song didn't pick up the call and now regrets it. When they finally breach the computer's security, they're shocked to see all data has been erased. The duo returns to the infirmary and finds Ryu taking the samples, pretending that he has orders from Han. Song gets suspicious and stops him, and when Ryu takes out his gun to kill them, they all step back when they see the girl at the door. Ryu tries shooting her, but the girl dodges all the shots and jumps on Ryu to knock him down. While the rest of the crew arrives, Song carefully shows she means no harm and puts down a capsule for the girl, who has a tag with the name of Song's sister. When the girl grabs the sample, Ryu destroys it with a shot, and the girl collapses as she has a seizure. Song notices the protuberances on her cheeks moving like gills, but the girl runs away because she can take a closer look. Afterward, Song puts away all the other capsules and tells the crew that the water can't kill the girl. Some crew members want to kill her, but Song forbids it because the girl is the only chance they have to save humanity. Then Han calls Kim, who confirms Choi was the one who ordered the station to be shut down and not everyone in SAA agreed. He refuses to share more information. He only urges Han to work with Song to find the truth. When Kim leaves his office, he discovers some rioters have managed to break a storage wall and now everyone is rushing to collect water. Meanwhile, Ryu sends a message asking for support